I just had it muted.
Oh,
That's my bad.
all
People
right.
on the radio heard it though.
That's right.
All right.
The greatest cold intro to the Insiders.
It's actually probably good because I had the music playing on the stream, which would have been Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right.
Anyways.
I love it.
Yeah, no, we did it, guys. We saw Beam lit last night with the Kings thrashing the Milwaukee Bucks 129-94. And man, I got to tell you, the pageantry that comes with the whole light the beam thing was a lot of fun. What a great way to end a basketball game. I think you could cut the interview down.
Okay.
It feels like people are ready, people are jazzed up. I think maybe you can do the interview after. Just a small critique. Just
Okay.
I don't think I was expecting that because it's light the beam. You got thousands, tens of thousands of people in there chanting light the beam.
Yep.
Everybody knows what's coming. They wheel the thing out and there's a big purple button. You can't miss it. Get the countdown, slam the button.
It's pretty electric.
It was. It was super fun.
Like the beam shooting up to the ceiling is amazing. Like everything is pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed it.
I think
I'm glad I went.
A short interview that I think they only do 2 to 3 questions. Scott Moak, like hanging out with Keon Ellis last night. Yeah, the pageantry of lighting the beam is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm glad I did it. And the curse is over. It was not me.
I actually, there was a point where I said they're up 19, Kyle, you need to leave now.
You did.
And then there were some fans that came over, found me, and said, Kyle needs to leave now.
Got to go.
Kyle has to leave now.
Dude, I'll tell you. Look.
They said we're having so much fun. Kyle has got to go.
Well, look, in the second quarter, the Kings extended the lead, and I told you at halftime, I was like, I feel good. I feel good about where they're at. This is not one of those games that they were playing with so much force for the first 24 minutes that there was never a point in the first quarter or the second quarter, the first half, where I thought, man, this thing is going to flip and this game's going to get dicey. I thought they had a really good plan for Dame. And if Dame can't go light it up, as good as Giannis is, and he was unbelievable, we'll talk about him in a second, but if Dame can't light it up and go for 25, 30 points, the Bucks have no means of getting back into that basketball game. And you saw Giannis, he gave it his effort down the court in 3 steps, answering a bucket with a quick bucket. But the only time it really got dicey was in the third quarter when the Bucks got it to, they get it to 15 and had possession.
Either that or they got it to, it's possible they got it to 14.
They might have gotten it to 14 and had possession.
Yeah.
Where if they hit a 3, it's like, oh man, now it's, but they missed whatever. They missed a 3 and the Kings came back down, got a bucket, regained control of the game. If the Bucks had hit the 3 at that point, I think we would have seen a timeout and your boy would have been out of there.
You would have left.
I would have been gone, dude.
Yeah, I would have like escorted you out. Yeah, there was a point where it was like, okay, this thing's getting a little dicey. I blame Kyle. I mean, it is what it is. But like, you're a jinx until you're not. Yeah. And I think we've now broken the jinx. Kyle is now allowed to stay as long as he wants in every game from here on out.
Yeah.
If there's someone else out there who's jinxing the Kings,
it's on you.
It is on you now.
It's on you now.
It's on you. That stink is on you.
It's not my fault anymore.
It's not Kyle's fault.
Oh man, what a freaking performance last night, man. It was just the type of game, and I will say this, and this is twofold, right? These two things can be the same, or these two things can coexist.
Okay.
The Bucks missed a ton of open looks in the early going. I think Malik Beasley wound up shooting 2 of 11. And he's shooting it at 40+% this year.
He finished 3 of 11 from 3.
3 of 11. Yep. And he missed a lot of wide open ones. Giannis made a couple of slick passes, man. Pat Connaughton missed a couple of open ones. Dame missed.
He was 1 of 6. 2 of 12 from the field.
Yeah, man. He was not good. And we'll talk more about that later. That was of the Kings doing. But of the open threes, the Bucks had chances to get into that game. But to the Kings' credit, and this is where these things can coexist, the Bucks left the door open, and instead of the Kings going, "Oh, hey, can we maybe we don't want to, can we maybe," they just kicked the door off the hinges. And the Bucks were missing, the Kings were making. And that was it.
Yeah, the formula for success is pretty simple. Go 18 of 40 from 3. Like, if you do that and while holding your opponent to 7 of 39, you're going to win every game. I thought, like, really, the way the Kings came out early, and we'll get into this discussion because I think you and I have some debating to do over a couple of the players here.
Yeah, we do.
But I thought the way that Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter came out punching and hitting threes was like, oh, we got a ball game.
Yeah.
Straight up.
We can put a pin in the Kevin Huerter thing for the moment.
Yeah.
But when Harrison Barnes, I went in and I didn't win anything in Prize Picks last night, but when I saw that Keegan Murray was out, I immediately went in and found whatever Harrison Barnes' point total was. It was 12 and a half. I'm going more than that because you know he's going to be more aggressive when Keegan's not on the court. And when Harrison Barnes is knocking down threes, and then when he's putting the ball on the deck and he's getting to the rim and he's getting into the paint, he's an effective player for Sacramento. And I think you saw that last night, particularly on the offensive end.
Yeah, there was even 2 bunnies he missed early in the game where he got all the way to the rim. So he hit a couple of threes, and then all of a sudden he started going to the rim, and you're like, hey, look, Harrison Barnes is super active. That's what the Kings need. They need guys coming out and just, putting on a show when they can, like within their, like, be a star in your role, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I wanted to ask, did Giannis live up to the hype? Because I know that was one of the things that you hadn't got to see Giannis play live.
Yeah, he did. He really did, man. I was obviously the Bucks got smoked, but Giannis 30 points on 10 of 17, and just whether they were hunting a mismatch or whether he was going to work on the perimeter or whether he was taking the ball out of the basket and getting down the court in 3 steps and making some spin move to lay it in. He had one where he missed a bunny, just went, and it was just sheer force of will. Just went, I'm grabbing this rebound, brings it back up, and just hammers it down on top of 3 Kings. It was like, dude, there's so few players I've ever seen who are capable of doing most of what Giannis did on the court last night.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys, like, over my career that's like, oh, you want to see play. Like, again, Yao Ming was the largest man, like, I think I've ever seen. Outside of, like, standing next to Taco Fall. Taco Fall's gigantic. Like, gigantic.
But Yao could play.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me check. NBA basketball, Yao can play.
Yeah. I mean, they don't just fit, like, we always say, you got to duck to get through the doorway. Of course they have to duck to get through a doorway. A doorway is usually 6'8", right? So they got to duck through to get through a doorway. But Yao and Taco are so wide that they have to duck and turn sideways.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy how big of human they. So that's cool to watch. And then, you're always looking for something that's different. And in Giannis is just, like, the body is just so different than anything that we've seen. It's just, and same with Wembanyama. Like, sure, you can you can compare him to players from the 80s or whatever, and like, he kind of looks like this, kind of looks like whatever. But no one has ever done what he does, like, on a basketball court. And so you want to take these things in because it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting to see something that you may never see again. That, like, if it's a blessing to be able to go to a game every single night and see something.
Yeah, man. It just the thing that's so shocking about Giannis in person is just how imposing he is physically. He's just, like you said, just a completely different body type. We've seen tall players who can handle the ball a little bit, but he is tall and the way his body has filled out, and then the way he just glides. Even most guys, there's a little bit of plotting to their game when they're that big. Even if you're like, man, that guy can move. That guy can get out on the perimeter. That guy, like somebody like Vucevic. Like, oh, hey, he can move a little bit for a big, but there's a plotting to his game. There's none of that with Giannis.
No.
And
it's just silky smooth.
He very much lived up to the hype. Dame didn't.
No.
I was talking to Chris Biederman last night before the game, and he goes, I totally got caught up in all the Giannis stuff. I completely forgot that Dame is on the Bucks now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been to a Kings Blazers game before, but Dame did not play in that game. This is
Oh,
several years back.
okay.
So I'd never seen Dame either. And boy, that was disappointing.
I covered Dame in the Western Conference Finals
Right.
in Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Portland quite a few times for games and covered so much of Dame's career. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's interesting.
There were a lot of people there. I was shocked at how many people were there specifically for Dame last night. I know he's an Oakland guy. I know he's a Northern California guy.
Yeah.
But when his name got announced, there were like cheers, like audible cheers in the crowd.
I like, the Bucks have a fan base and like
Mhm.
a traveling fan base. So
Mhm.
it's good to see. I like when there's opposing fans in the building.
Yeah, as long as it's not
Not
annoying.
like tonight, like there could be a Lakers takeover, right? You always
Mhm.
worry about the takeover. But like when it's Philly, when it's Boston, when it's like the Bucks, like when they're true fans and cheering for their group, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you want that. You don't just want it silent when bad things happen. You want some back and forth. You want people to feel like it is a contest, not just a one-sided thing.
Yeah, man, for sure. But Dame last night, not a great night in large part because of what Sacramento did. And I want to make
Yes.
sure that when we talk about Dame, we talk about Giannis, whatever. All of this conversation comes back to the Kings took it to the number 2 team in the East last night in a game that I they didn't need to have, but every we've talked about the need to stack wins and the need to start kind of putting some strong performances together. The reason last night was such a big deal to me was they didn't go up by 25 and then win by 7. They didn't go up by 25 and then have the game in the balance in the final moments. They put it on a team and then slammed the door shut, locked it, bought a deadbolt, installed it, locked that. Like they just ensured that Milwaukee had no chance to get back into that game. And that was super impressive.
I agree.
Yeah, man. All right. Let's dive further into this game with 6 quick thoughts. That is coming up next. We are hanging out with you till noon. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. We're clear.
Okay. Third block, we got to be a little creative there.
Yep.
Cool.
You got the timing down.
Spencer, I don't agree. I got to be honest. Nick Van Exel is a perfectly fine player. De'Aaron Fox is a much better player than Nick Van Exel was. And I like Nick, like as a player. I just don't think.
Yeah, De'Aaron's in a different tier of player, dude.
Yeah.
That is about how good De'Aaron Fox is, not a slight at Nick Van Exel.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Van Exel averaged 20 points a game once in his career. And 14.4 for his career. And he was a mad bomber. Like he could shoot from way outside. Like I would say CJ McConnell and Nick Van Exel, not a bad comp.
CJ McCollum?
Yeah. And Nick Van Exel? Yeah. I mean,
Van Exel is a one-time All-Star.
He did have a couple of seasons with like 9 assists, 8.5 assists.
Yeah, different players.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, Mike Conley, he's a much better version of Mike Conley. I don't know if Isaiah Thomas is a good comp either for Nick Van Exel. I mean, Nick was a true passer, and Isaiah averaged, 20 a game multiple times. And yeah, I don't know.
2 minutes. Sorry about the mute early on, guys.
Oh, you missed the greatest intro ever.
I was messing with some stuff. It'll be on the podcast. Subscribe to the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show wherever you get your pods. No, I muted the mics on the stream when I logged in because I was recording some stuff.
Got it.
And I wasn't sure what was gonna record and what was not. So I just muted everything that I didn't need.
Got it. Ryan A. Pete, no. Steve Blake was more of a true point guard than Kevin Huerter. What's his status to Trey? We have no idea yet. Like, Trey hurt his knee last night in the game. I'm gonna guess he's not gonna play tonight, but I'm not sure. The Kings don't have to put out their injury report or any of that stuff. They won't have shoot around because it's a back-to-back. They won't put out an injury report until the afternoon. They don't have to, and that's when we'll find out about Trey. Yeah. I don't know that Steve Blake was more athletic. Like, I like Steve Blake, but Steve Blake was more of just like a true point guard and not a super athlete.
Yeah, congrats, Russ. Appreciate you, man. Good work. All right, let's dive in.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, he's James. I'm Kyle. Talking Kings blowout victory last night over the Milwaukee Bucks. Sacramento 129. Milwaukee 94 points. 38 second half points for one of the best offenses in the NBA post All-Star break. It's impressive, man. Very, very impressive.
Super impressive. I mean, that's the game you needed right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a get right game, but it's certainly a game that matters tremendously in the standings, because I think you very easily could have seen a 4-game losing streak right here.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to be bamboozled into thinking that this team is suddenly something more than what we've seen through, God, what are we at now? 64 games?
Mm-hmm.
But if you were drawing up a type of win last night, that's the one you would have drawn up. And let's dive further into that with James Ham. 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Really well.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know.
Yeah, he does.
Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
All right, 6 quick thoughts could be sponsored by you.
That's right.
If you were so inclined. James Ham. Number 1.
Red Velvet. It's been a while since we used that nickname, but Kevin Huerter came out looking for a shot. He hit the Bucks for 11 points on 3 of 8 shooting from long range. Out of 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He looked a lot more like the player that we saw last year, although there were some holes to his game. Defensively, he struggled a little bit. Pat Connaughton came in and got a couple of quick buckets on him, although Pat Connaughton really didn't end up being that much of an impact on the game. But I thought it was a good start for Kevin Huerter. He looked more like himself, shooting the 3 ball with confidence and clarity.
Sure. Number 2.
Black Falcon. Was this
better?
Was this a flashback to the 2022-23 season? Like Huerter came out firing. He attacked the basket. The veteran posted 16 points, 4-7 from deep, grabbed 6 rebounds. And I also thought his defense was like some of the best he's played.
Mm-hmm. Super active.
Yeah, I mean, he was on Brook Lopez most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just fighting with Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
And the fact that Brook Lopez can't post up and back down Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, dude, Brook Lopez got nothing.
It's like a huge indictment on his 7'2" dude.
Yeah, like he's been a good player for a long time.
Yeah.
And his ability to stretch the floor, I'm sure helps Milwaukee in a lot of ways. But he's like you just said, he's just not the player he was even a couple of years ago. It's not a good night for him last night.
No, and we watched him shoot a whole bunch of threes in pregame, and it was like, oh man, this dude's gonna light the Kings up. And then he just didn't do it.
No.
Like, he's 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 7 from the field. He had a block or two. 1 block, and it was big. Like, it was a nice block. But outside of that, there just wasn't a lot to be impressed by.
No, and that had a lot to do with what Harrison Barnes did defensively. Yeah, I thought Harrison had a really, really good game last night. No Keegan Murray. Harrison Barnes stepped in and did a really, really nice job. Number 3.
Rough assignment with Keegan Murray sideline. Keon Ellis got the start and lined up across from future Hall of Famer Damian Lillard. Ellis was spectacular.
Dude, so freaking good.
He helped hold Damian Lillard to 10 points on 2 of 12 shooting, and he scored 7 points on his own. He basically matched Damian Lillard, and that's not something I thought that he could do. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. He just brings an energy, Kyle.
Dude, and it wasn't, oh man, he made Dame work, but ultimately Dame figured it out. And yeah, he had 22, but 18 of them were in the second half. No, Dame never figured it out. And that was largely just Keon Ellis hounding him. And the Kings did some different stuff. Mike Brown talked about it post game. They switched up their coverages a little bit. They went zone. They went, man, it was not. I'm crediting Keon Ellis is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
he was just awesome, and not in the way that, how am I articulating this? Help me. Not in the way that, oh, okay, no, he did about as well as you can, but Dame still got his. Like, no, man, he just shut him down.
No, he was good.
He was incredible.
I want to point out there was a game planning thing that they did where the Kings they knew how the Bucks were going to set screens to get Dame on somebody, and how they like to get Dame to a certain spot. They sort of inverted their defense. So Keon Ellis didn't start on Dame. He was on the third guy.
Right.
So after the screen, and then all of a sudden it's Keon Ellis on Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant coaching.
Really, really smart.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Too small. De'Aaron Fox went at the Bucks all night long, including defensive specialist Patrick Beverley, who likes to tell everybody they're too small. He in this game was too small. De'Aaron Fox. Oh, I messed that one up. He finished with 29 points, right? He had a good night. 29 points on 11 of 17 shooting, 4 or 5 from 3, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. He was an all-star.
He was great last night. He was the best.
Yep.
He was the best player on the floor, I thought. And the thing I really liked was, he went 4 or 5 from 3, which is great. But he got to the mid range. He got the looks he likes, and didn't mess around on that. 11 to 17. You love to see that from De'Aaron.
Yep.
Number 5.
Number 5. More of the same. Domantas Sabonis set a new franchise record for consecutive double-doubles, notching his 47th straight. Finished tonight with stellar 22 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists against a guy who was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year last year in Brook Lopez. Torched him. Dunked on his head twice.
Got him twice.
On his head.
Got him twice.
Amazing.
That was crazy. Number 6.
All cylinders. Malik Monk did Malik Monk things. He went at the Bucks. 17 of his 25 points came in the first half. He was chirping and brought vibes.
It was great.
The entire time.
It was great. It was so great.
Yes, it was.
Jay Crowder stopping by his press conference, telling him to talk his stuff after the game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Malik was getting after it the entire game. Yeah, no, man, he's been on quite a run lately. 25, 5, and 5 from your 6th man is something a lot of teams will take.
Yeah, I think
excellent.
I think all of them will take it.
Can I give a 7th quick thought?
Oh yeah.
Just one time for Andre Jackson Jr.'s dunk.
Oh my goodness.
Holy crap, dude.
That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
I've never seen a person jump that high.
I don't know.
He was like chest at the rim.
That was wild.
He almost missed the dunk because he was too high.
Yes.
And then the Kings bench reaction was really, really funny.
It was really funny. And then De'Aaron said he smacked Kevin Huerter in the back. That he's like, Kevin, you know they're going to pan right to us.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter jumped up and walked off.
Yes.
The whole oh, that was funny. But you'd rather that happen in a game where you're up by 35 than down by 35. It's excusable when you're up by that many. If you're going to have it, because that was a genuinely, because remember, these guys are all basketball fans. These guys love the sport more than anybody. And to see a play like that, where that wasn't just a typical, oh man, that guy got dunked on. That was just the feat of athleticism to get up as high as Andre Jackson Jr. did was unbelievable.
My favorite part is all of us were scrambling. We're like, who in the hell was that?
I was talking to a couple of friends on the concourse when that happened. And I was like, stop. I need to Google who this is
Yes.
because I have no idea, because on the scoreboard it just says Jackson Jr.
What if I told you he's a 6'6" shooting guard?
Stop.
That guy's
6'8"
6'6"
minimum.
Like I don't even like. Well, I think he's 6'10" with his hair.
That's a good point.
But what in the world?
Got a 87-inch vertical apparently.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. Max vert. I don't.
Good reason to stay for the whole game, by the way.
Yes, he was the sixth pick of the second round in the 2023 NBA draft by the Orlando Magic.
Oh, UConn legend, sure.
Yeah, I have no idea who he is. I had never seen him play basketball before that I can remember. Maybe I have.
I have never heard of that person until yesterday.
But that dunk is like one of the best dunks of the year. It was nuts.
If you haven't seen it, go find it.
Yeah, and it was off a miss,
Yeah,
right?
like
it was
putback.
a putback.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not exaggerating when I say his chest was at the rim.
His chest was at the rim.
Crazy.
Yes.
Coming up next, let's look ahead to tonight's game because it is a big one against the Los Angeles Lakers of Anaheim. We will talk about that. And we will have a Jiffy Lube gift certificate, a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate for you, and your chance to enter to win a Sacramento Kings jersey. All that coming up next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear.
Yeah, that was wild. A great crowd last night. Had a good time.
Yeah, really good crowd.
Wire to wire win by the Kings. Never trailed.
It was so nice just to. There was no consternation, no uneasiness.
Yeah. It's good every once in a while to have a win like that where you just run over somebody. It's like, hey, that's nice.
When was the last time they did that? The Lakers?
Yeah, probably.
I know they got down big in that one, but.
Oh. According to Shams, I'm told the NBA's competitive committee met on Tuesday and discussed ways to incorporate more defensive freedom, evaluating how to potentially allow more physicality using the next few months to strategize. Huh. Why don't you just take what you do in the playoffs and do that?
I think that officials should officiate the game where when a player throws his head backwards, just don't blow a whistle.
Oh, yeah.
Even if the player got hit and they're trying to sell a call, just don't blow the whistle. If it is not apparent enough from the contact that there was contact, just play on, dude.
I would also say this. Why don't you tell your officials to call a game straight up? How about that? Like, not to be rude, but like I watched a game last night where one team went 27 of 35 from the free throw line and the other one went 13 of 16. The Kings didn't get a free throw through almost a full second quarter. It was like they couldn't get a foul. And then on the other end, touch foul. And, again, they end up with 26 personal fouls, the Kings, to 18 for the Bucks. But it was just them balancing the scales later. Like, just call it straight up. How about that? Yeah. See, securing to Bagley. It was 28-4 at one point. Who's this guy the Niners traded for?
Malik Collins?
Yeah.
I think the 49ers were like, you know what, this team is missing a Malik.
Oh, we need our own Malik.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, no, good player. 2016 draft. 4 years with the Cowboys, spent a year with the Raiders, last 3 years with the Texans. Niners get him for a 7th. Cheap option. He'll start. Good pass rusher.
Oh. Okay.
Pretty good against the run as well.
You think they did enough?
They're also going to sign Eric Kendricks, the linebacker, veteran, former All-Pro. Good player as well. A lot of doubles from the Niners in free agency. No home runs, but a lot of doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ramsey. I saw. So I feel bad, Ramsey. Last 2 times I've run into you at games, it's been when I had to go to the bathroom very badly. I feel bad, but yeah.
Okay, so Eric Kendricks, 32.
And that was super funny last night, early in the game when Giannis got hacked across the arm. You were like, "That's a travel."
Oh yeah, no. I meant that's a foul. I meant that's a foul.
No, I know that.
Kevin Herter just absolutely.
Yeah, just whacked him.
Whacked him.
No whistle.
Yeah.
I think that's a travel. It's like, what? You're
No.
like, foul. I meant foul.
I meant foul.
All right, here we go. So we'll go to like 43 here. All right, I'm Kyle Madsen. He is James Ham. Nice win for the Kings last night, but they turn right back around this evening and they take on the Los Angeles Lakers at Golden One Center in a pretty sizable matchup. Not just because sweeping the Lakers in the season series would be, well, chef's kiss moment for this season, but the Lakers very quietly just 2 games back of the Kings. I get 2.5, I guess, because the Kings have the tiebreaker. But the Lakers 3 games back in the loss column. This is a game where you can't put a nail on the coffin of the Lakers climbing up into the 7 seed, but you can really, really make it tough for them with less than 20 games to go, and you can put them 3 games back, 4 games back in the loss column.
Yeah, the big thing right now is that the Kings are 3 games up in the loss column on them. And I'll say this, Kyle, if you factor in the fact that the Kings have the season series,
right,
the Lakers would need to beat the Kings by 4 down the stretch.
Yeah,
right.
They need to gain a lot of games.
Yeah, they would. So that's a big deal. But the Kings are also only 4 games behind the Clippers for the 4 seed in the loss column, and that's something too where, like, look, they can still climb in this thing. There's 18 games left. You have 11 at home, 7 on the road. There's plenty of climbing the Kings can do over the next 2 weeks if they take care of business. Got to throw away all these things like, oh, your second night of a back-to-back. Well, we said they started the season 0-4 on back-to-backs. I think they're now like 5-4, 5-5.
I think they're 5-5 now.
5-5 on back-to-backs.
6-4.
5-5. We'll have to look.
They've been way better since starting 0-4.
Yes, they've been way better. And the last time that they won was the first time that they had actually swept the back-to-back.
Right.
So maybe they're finding something here and they're building something. But yeah, every win matters at this point, and you gotta focus on the team in front of you, which is still a very dangerous Lakers team. But this is an opportunity to just dunk them.
How many times have we gone into the first night of a back-to-back with the Kings this year and gone, you have to smoke this team so your guys can rest and get ready for the second night of the back-to-back? I would not, of all the back-to-backs this year, I would not have circled the Milwaukee Bucks as the team that they're going to blow out so badly that they can limit Sabonis to 34 minutes, De'Aaron Fox to 32, and Malik Monk to 28.
That's pretty good.
Where those guys aren't playing, they're not all playing 30 plus, 37 plus minutes.
No, that's what you have to do. I mean, a second night of a back. I mean,
it could have been a lot fewer. Mike Brown left those guys in a long time.
He did, and Fox actually laced a 3 late.
Yeah,
the JaVale McGee 3.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
JaVale.
Come on,
JaVale.
Come on.
I think there's like 18.
So
on
exciting.
The clock there was a lot of time on the clock.
If you're gonna let it rip, that's a good time to do it. No, so they were in the game last night until a little bit more than midway through the fourth quarter. But that's Mike Brown sending a message of like, hey, close this game the right way. Show me that you know how to do this. And also, those aren't super high stress minutes, so I don't really count them as on the same scale as if it had been a tie game down the stretch. So I think that puts the Kings in a good spot tonight to cap off a season sweep of the Lakers in it. I guess it's a tough matchup for LA. I think they just have a really, really hard time guarding Sacramento.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, you look at the matchup between Sabonis and AD. I mean, he's 10-0. I mean, 9-0. 9-0. He's going for a 10-0
Man,
for his career against Anthony
that's
Davis.
so crazy.
It is crazy. And the fact that it's a home and home back to back, that actually helps. Like, I think it does help. The Kings have not been great at home, but this is an opportunity where, look, you went home, you slept in your own bed, you come back, you see what you got. You know,
Yeah.
can you bring it? And you know, there aren't any easy ones from here on out.
I'm really interested to see what we get from Anthony Davis tonight. Do we get this motivated? Because look, I'm really on the fence about Davis. I understand he's great. I understand he's going to the Hall of Fame. But I don't know that there's a player in the top 75, that NBA all-time top 75. I don't know that there's an active player who I watch and am disappointed by more often than Anthony Davis.
That's funny. I mean, like, look, I think for as many times as you're disappointed, there are other games where you're just like, oh my gosh.
What do you have the other night? 27,
everything.
25, 5 and 5?
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
Yes.
It's not.
I know. I have him in fantasy basketball.
That's why I said, I know, I'm not denying that he's great. Like,
Yes.
I understand it. He is going to go to the Hall of Fame and he should. It is, and I'm sure it's anecdotal because he killed Golden State in the playoffs last year. But even in the playoffs last year, he'd have this great game and then followed up with 13 points, 6 boards. Next game, 30 and 14.
Yeah.
Next game, 8 and 6. Like, man, what? It's just the inconsistency. So I'm really interested to see tonight, while, you know, the focus will for us will be on the Sacramento Kings and A, what they look like on the second night of a back-to-back, B, what they look like at home in a building that's going to be a lot of Laker fans, and see if they can just take care of business and beat a team that, frankly, at this point, they should be beating. I'm really interested to see if we get one of those Anthony Davis games where he goes for 30 and 10, or is it, no, he just gets stuffed in a locker by Domas again.
Well, even games where he does go for 30 and 10, he still gets stuffed in a locker. I mean, again, against Domas, because he's had games against Domas where you're like, hey, you're really, really impactful. All right, so tonight we got for Lakers starters, we got D'Angelo Russell.
Sure.
We've got Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
We've got Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
We've got Anthony Davis. And then LeBron James is questionable coming into the day. I don't know if LeBron will play or not. I'm going to guess LeBron will play and start and play 39 minutes. That's just my guess. Like, questionable literally means like nothing.
He's at 57 games, which means he needs 9 more, and they're at 66, so they have 16 games left. I think he's going to play exactly 66 games. So he can rest a couple here.
Okay.
And it wouldn't shock me. Although, I mean, if that's really, I don't know that this is the plan for them. I don't know if they're really looking at this and going, okay, we're pretty comfortably in the play-in. The Rockets aren't going to gain 5.5 games on us in the next 16. So we're going to start gearing up. We're going to make sure LeBron is getting the rest that he didn't get carrying the team this season. We're going to make sure Anthony Davis is getting some rest and staying healthy. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe it's not. But if it is, I can't imagine that tonight against Sacramento is one of the games that they're like, yeah, we can afford to lose this one. Unless they're just hell-bent on sticking in the 9 seed.
Yeah.
Which would be weird, but
I don't think they really care where they are. Like, I do believe Anthony
guess.
Davis when he says that. Like, it's just another game. They don't care. They still they can make a deep run. But at the same time, like they just haven't been good, man.
Yeah, well, and that's it. They haven't been that good.
No.
And if you're that team and you're content going, don't care where we are, we can make a run from wherever. Yeah, if you're in the 9-10, you could have a bad shooting night and be out of the play-in.
Yes.
Why would it? I don't know why you wouldn't take every effort possible to be 8 minimum. Because then at least if you lose, you get a second chance.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I think you're right. I think he probably plays. Because it's not. Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's one of those injuries. Like he played in the All-Star game and then sat out the first game after the All-Star break with this ankle injury.
That's weird.
It feels like they're just managing it at this point. It's not, you know what, I'm too sore to go today. It's just probably vibes.
Yeah.
Like, how's he feel pregame?
So when the Kings beat the Lakers last week, we had 44 from De'Aaron Fox. We had a 16-point, 20 rebound, 12 assist
Jesus.
triple double for Domantas Sabonis. You had Malik Monk with 26 points and 8 assists. And then this is a game where Davion came off the bench and hit 4-4 from 3. And you had some, solid minutes from Harrison Barnes. So, like, if you need to replicate what you did last time.
Yeah, whatever that was,
Mhm.
just go out and do it again. And I don't think they didn't. I don't think they did anything at Crypto.Arena Staples that they can't do again. That was just De'Aaron getting into the paint over and over again. It was Malik Monk getting into the paint over and over again. It was Domantas Sabonis dominating that matchup with Anthony Davis. Those are just all things they can keep doing. And then on top of that, Mike Brown brought this up last night. How many times do you think he said 20 sprays?
He said spray at least 47 times.
He said so many times.
Spray three.
Because their goal, and he said this in his presser, is 20 spray threes, where it's getting into the paint, kicking it out. Because in that scenario, you're likely getting an open look because the defense is collapsed. It's the kind of fundamental core of their offense, one of the fundamental pillars of their offense. Said you want to get 20 spray threes a game. Last night, they knocked down 10 of them. And that is a very, very good number. That's a number I think they can replicate against LA. At least the amount. I'm not going to say they're going to shoot 50% on those again, because that's a tough standard to set.
Yeah.
But I think that they can create those looks again. It's just a matter of whether they can get enough stops defensively, if they can replicate that.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say that LA is just not a great defensive team. And even their starting lineup has probably 3 guys that aren't great defenders. And that's why you see these types of numbers from the Kings starters.
Yeah. All right. We'll have more Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers coming up. We'll have keys to victory for the Kings. A big one. They need to get this win tonight. We will have more of that coming up right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento's sports leader. Can we talk about starting lineups here for a second?
Of course we can.
Somebody in the chatty house asked this question. Shaka Zulu Galaxy Gaming.
Oh,
thanks for tapping in, Shaka.
Okay.
Honest question. Can we be more successful if Keegan is on the bench? No. No short answer, but I think this gets to an interesting question about what the Kings starting lineup looked like last night and how the Kings responded with that starting lineup last night. And then when you look at that and you look at how Keon Ellis played, not only defensively, but just doing the right things offensively, leaking out and getting an easy bucket for a dunk. He knocked down an open 3. When you look at how he impacted the game, and then you extrapolate that, you look and you go, man, he's been actually really good for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then WillZstats.com pointed out, you know what? Davion Mitchell is way better when he plays next to Keon Ellis as well. Keon Ellis is just this connector. He's a really, really good player for them. And it begs a question, for me anyway, why not just start Keon?
Yeah, I mean,
over Kevin Huerter, by the way, not Keegan Murray. That would be the move I would make. You're moving Kevin Huerter to the bench, moving Keon Ellis into that starting lineup.
I get it, and I don't disagree. I mean, he gives you better range, he gives you better defensive presence, he gives you better energy. He's a really good 3-point shooter, and it's something that, even De'Aaron Fox has pointed out. He's shooting 37.6% on the season from 3. He can knock down a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's the type of player that the Kings need moving forward. They need these 3-and-D active players. And, we talk about the Bruce Browns of the world, those types of guys, the Kentavious Caldwell-Popes, the guys who don't mind doing the dirty work and not getting all the glory, diving on the floor. Yep. Every once in a while, they grab a big rebound. Every once in a while, they come up with a huge defensive stop or a steal. And I get it. And I don't disagree with you. I just think that at this point, you're sort of pot committed for the 2023-24 season with the group that you had last year, the group that you have this year, and you run the risk of losing somebody. And I don't know that that's, that you should be fully concerned about that.
Yeah.
But at some point, you do have to be a little bit concerned about it.
No doubt. The fact that Keon Ellis was as impactful as what He was a plus 27, a team high.
Yeah.
Plus 27 while scoring 7 points.
Well,
that's hard to do, man. And it wasn't, oh, he was doing cardio. And no, he was impacting the game. Mike Brown got asked about this last night. And here is what he said on this. And it taps in a little bit to what I think you just said. And that's why I want to play it here.
No, I think, Keon, we can get him on the floor at any time. I think, our starters have done a great job for most of the year. And I just have to keep trying to find opportunities to get him on the floor for longer stretches.
And that's valid, because I think you're right in that if Mike Brown were to just do that, let's say tonight, he goes, man, Keegan's ready to go. Kevin, you're sitting. Keon, you're starting. I think Kevin Huerter's gone. I think he's fried at that point.
Checked out. Yes.
And that is where a lot of this comes in, where I sit here and I go, I can sit there up in section 105 or wherever we are, and I can go, why not just start this guy? Like, look at how good he is. And Mike Brown talked about all the things he does well. He does this well. He does that well. The hustle plays, the fighting over screens. He can knock down a three. Offensively, he's good. Talks about all this stuff, and it's like, well, then why would you not want that guy? And it's that. It's what you just said.
Yeah.
You remove. It's not, oh, we'll just take Kevin Huerter and we'll put him on the bench, and then you have just some good bench scoring. Good rebounding, a little distributing for Kevin. It's a good piece to have on the bench. That is not something that I think Kevin Huerter would be amenable to.
No, and I think that what you're doing is if you're installing Keon Ellis in the starting lineup, right now you have two players.
Mm-hmm.
If you make that move, you now have one.
No doubt.
And that one better be good enough to cover all the bases, because the other guy probably is gonna struggle after that. And like that's the dynamic of being a head coach in the NBA.
It's tough, dude.
Like I know there are so many fans that are out there, and they're just, yelling and screaming on social media about every single thing that's going on with the Sacramento Kings in every moment. And this might be the new thing that Keon Ellis should start, that the Kings are 5-0 when he does start.
Yeah.
But you're managing so many things as a head coach, personalities. You're managing expectations from the front office and ownership. You're managing all of these things. And at the end of the day, your goal is to win. And Mike he's got to figure out a way to give his players the best opportunity to come away with a win. And each player within a larger group. Like, how do I find a way for Kevin Huerter to help us tonight?
Yeah.
And clearly you have him come out firing. That's what we saw. And if he's not hitting, man, he misses his first 4 shots. I don't know how you can keep going back to him in a game. No. But he comes in, he hits a couple of shots. Next thing you know, he's really active. I thought, again, he's still trying to play aggressive without fouling. And sometimes it looks really clunky because he's trying to be aggressive, but that aggressiveness is not who he is. And so,
correct.
So it's almost like when you go out on a basketball court and you play with like a linebacker, and every time you try to go one way, he just like wraps you up and you're like, dude, that's a foul. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And so Kevin is trying to be that guy, but he's struggling to figure it out and how to play within the team, the team defensive structure. Is he getting picked on? Sure. Like, there are plenty of times where he is.
Yeah.
But I don't think the answer is just as easy as install Keon Ellis into the starting lineup.
I think Kevin Huerter this is anecdotal. I'm not going to say leads the league. I think he has one per game. The foul where when you're watching, you go, why did you do that? Last night he fouled Giannis, where Giannis had inside position and elevated to lay it in, and Huerter just whacks him on the arm. That's so unnecessary.
Did he make the shot?
Yeah, he made it.
Yeah.
He gets an and one off of like, Kev, you weren't going to block that.
Nope.
And getting beat by Giannis in the post is not the end of the world, man. No one's expecting you to win that matchup. And then whacking him on the arm, like that's double losing. So here's where I sit with this, because the more I thought about it last night, I think that you're right. Okay, you can start Keon Ellis, but you run the risk of Kevin Huerter, who has he been less effective this year than he was last year? No doubt. But has he been a useless NBA player? Not in the slightest.
No.
So you run the risk of him becoming that, though. If you put him on the bench and he does not respond well, and Mike Brown knows Kevin Huerter infinitely better than I do.
Yeah.
I think he knows that if Mike Brown knew in a perfect world that Kevin Huerter, or if Kevin Huerter came to him and said, "Hey, Mike, Keon, we are a better team when Keon starts and when he's on the floor. Let me come off the bench. Let me get some shots with the second unit, and let's mix it up that way." I think Mike would be super open to it, and maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he'd be like, "No," because of X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw the response when he got benched in the preseason. Imagine getting benched in game 67 after you've been a starter for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you in on a secret, though.
All right.
Not necessarily you. I'm letting people in on a secret now. I think Keon is going to start a playoff game. Because that's a type of in-series adjustment where maybe the Kings go down 2-0, maybe they're down 2-1, and Huerter is minus 16 in the first 2 or 3 games. And it's just really clear, like, man, he's getting picked on. Teams are game planning to get him in actions defensively. He's struggling with his shot as a result. I think that's where you might see an adjustment, because at that point, it's all hands on deck. You got to figure out how to win this series.
Yeah, it's we got to get through it.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you. I would add that, Keon Ellis is now eligible to play in the playoffs, where he was not earlier in the season.
Keon eligible.
He is Keon eligible. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's okay. I mean, I think he's a player that gives you something different. It's a wrinkle that the Kings desperately need.
Mm-hmm.
It's the player type that you desperately need. He might be good enough to be that player, and you have to give it more time.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand he's a second-year player who was undrafted, who hasn't played all that much. Even his first year, he didn't play that much at all at the NBA level. And this is just different. He's got to learn each and every player. He's got to learn, offensive schemes and everything to a T.
Yeah.
And he's been there the whole time, all season long. He hasn't been back and forth between Stockton and Sacramento. But it's always a risk messing with what you have. And maybe it's the right move, but it's also, it's a move that becomes a lot more complicated and needs to be, it's not just a head coach making a decision like that.
Knee-jerk reaction.
This is something that has to be done. And that's what Mike said last game, just to point it out. He said, I'm not going to do a knee-jerk reaction. And just because one player's had a couple of good games, one player's had a couple of bad games, I'm not going to do a knee-jerk reaction. The gravity of Kevin Huerter as a shooter still draws everybody. Keon Ellis can hit. He's probably, his 3-point shooting is probably a higher percentage than Kevin Huerter, but that doesn't mean that he has the same gravity that Kevin Huerter does as a shooter, the same reputation, that the team's game plan to stop Kevin Huerter doing it. And so it's just different.
Yeah, teams are living with it if Keon Ellis is going to knock down 4 threes in a game.
Yep.
They're going, all right, hey, let him shoot that. We'll live with that. No doubt. I will say, last thing on this. You mentioned he has to, learn the offense, learn the ins and outs. He hasn't been in this spot before. One of the things Mike Brown did mention with Keon last night is how ready he has stayed despite, okay, he's getting some minutes here. Okay, now he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Okay, now he's going to be in the rotation for 6 days. Okay, now he's going to be out of the rotation for a week. And he still has been a really, really consistent performer all year. That's why I have confidence that he can step in a bigger role and be effective. But to Mike Brown's point last night, that bigger role can come without mixing up the starting lineup.
Yeah. And
maybe you start seeing reduced minutes versus coming out of the starting lineup entirely, because that stuff matters, man.
It does. Yeah. Well, and I would tell you too, one last thing on this. Keon Ellis is exactly today in the NBA the same exact player he was in college, the same exact player he was at the high school level. That's who he is. He's a defender. He's a 3-and-D guy. It's his path to the NBA. He understands his path to the NBA. He understands his role. He's going to stay in the box. He's going to do what it is that he's asked to do. And there's something there. It's a blessing to have a player who isn't trying to prove that he's the next Dame Lillard, that he's Keon Ellis, who does exactly what Keon Ellis is supposed to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of which, your Jiffy Lube fast break player of the game is Keon Ellis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an easy choice. You look at the box score and you're going to go, what? But if you watch that game last night, you know just how vital he was to helping the Kings get out to that big lead and then holding on to that big lead. So head to ESPN1320.com right now, and it's your chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate and your chance to win a Sacramento Kings jersey. Go to ESPN1320.com. It's super easy. You go to the website. There's a Jiffy Lube Fast Break contest page right there. You click on that, and you're going to enter the code word Keon. Just his first name, Keon. Keon. You enter that keyword, and you will be entered to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate, as well as a Sacramento Kings jersey. That jersey will be given away at the end of the month. We have 2 more to give away. We'll give away one at the end of this month, one at the end of the regular season. Get your entries in now and win that $100 gift certificate and that Kings jersey.
There you go.
ESPN1320.com. Code word Keon at the Jiffy Lube Fast Break contest page. All right. Real quick, before we hit the break, we're going to do some scoreboard watching next, but the 49ers and fullback Kyle Juszczyk have agreed to a restructured deal, as according to Adam Schefter, that will save the 49ers $1.75 million against the cap. Hey, you want to talk about a Keon Ellis type player who just kind of does a little bit of everything and helps your team a lot?
Yep.
Kyle Juszczyk, of course, has been to a bunch of Pro Bowls in a row and this and that, and is maybe the best player at his position in the sport, but underappreciated, does a lot of the dirty work and helps the team a lot. That is a good work by the 49ers front office to come to a deal with the veteran fullback to keep him in red and gold. All right. Sacramento Kings last night got some help around the NBA. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. We'll take a look at the standings and where should the Kings be shooting to finish. We'll talk about that next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear. I have a bunch of audio to cut. So
yep. What's going on, everybody? My coffee is cold. I should probably buy one of those little coffee cups that keeps your coffee warm the whole time.
Bro, I have one of those, an Ember. Get it.
Yeah?
There's an app on your phone. You set it to a temperature, and it keeps your coffee at that temperature.
Oh, that would be spectacular. All the way through the show.
When
just
I'm
like
writing at home and I forget I have a coffee sitting next to me.
Yeah?
And it's been sitting here for 40 minutes, and then you pick it up and it's still hot.
Oh.
Game changer.
Game changer. I like to drink a lot of hot tea too. I'm going to pull this up so I can read it here. If the Kings had $50 million in cap space, could they offer Monk more money, or does that not matter? Absolutely, they could. Okay, so the difference with where the Kings are today is that the Kings are a cap team. They're over the cap. They're going to be over the cap from here on out. Whether they're over the luxury tax is always going to be in question, but there's very little way for them to be under the cap. So for people that are out there, stay with me. Let me see if I could draw this for you and make this more. If the cap is $145 million, 145. So the cap is 145, right? You can go above the cap to re-sign your own players, but this cap figure of 145, it includes all of your exceptions. So like if you're at 145, if you're like, let's say you're at the cap, you still have, or even a little over the cap, you still have a mid-level exception. So a mid-level exception is 13 million, right? So here's 13 million. Now, if you're at, let's say, 132 million, that 132 million still includes that 13 million. So you're still at 145, right? I know that, again, I'm not doing a very good diagram. So 145 million cap, let's say that's where you're at, right? That includes all of your exceptions as well. So if you, if someone says, oh, the Kings have $20 million in cap space, typically what that means is they're 20 million under the cap. So they could be at 125 million. but they also have the mid-level exception is in there, which is 13 million. And then the biannual exception is in there, which is 6 million. So realistically, the Kings would be $1 million under the cap because that's 19 million bucks, right? Now you can waive your rights to those exceptions and get that money to go out into free agency, but that's not usually the best way. So the Kings right now, if they're at 145, they can use early bird rights to sign Malik Monk to 17.4, and then they would still have their mid-level exception at 13 million.
And that's King's Cap with Professor Ham. Now we're back. Well, you're missing out if you're not watching on the stream. Had Professor Ham in here doing diagrams to explain the King's salary cap situation.
I need a bigger, like, if I had a big whiteboard, I could like show it, like break it all down for you. We can do that one day.
Get one from Kim.
I'll will one of the big, like the one that Charlie has. I'll just will it in and just like erase all of his programming.
Yeah, we can
off
do that.
of it. And then, you know, like I could sit here and do diagrams and everything. It's super complex, and
a King's Cap Q&A would be great.
Yeah, there will come a point where we need to do that right before free agency.
Yeah.
Right.
No
So it's, you know, and that's another reason why not having your first round pick, it actually could be a good thing, because that's like a guaranteed $2 to $3 million salary that you don't have on the books. And so it actually frees stuff up for guys like Keon Ellis. It frees stuff up for a guy to have Colby Jones on the team, like all of these things.
Let's take a look around the NBA scoreboard. We'll do the offseason stuff in the offseason. And maybe we will do just a cap Q&A one day.
Yeah.
That might be fun. The Kings now 37-27. And that's what last segment we talked about, the starting lineup stuff. That's the other thing that I think I say we, I don't want to lump anybody else. And maybe you as well, lose sight of sometimes, is the Kings are not bad. They didn't, I think, maybe take the leap that some people expected them to take this year.
Mm-hmm.
But they're 10 games over. They're comfortably in the play-in. They're a half game out of a playoff spot. They're 2 games out of being a 5 seed. And they're 4 games out of hosting a round 1 playoff series.
It's not bad.
No, it's a really good.
Yeah.
Like that's a spot. So like I said, I think the vibes were so good last year that it was almost impossible to replicate that this year. Outside of they are, tied at the top of the West at 45-20 right now, and everything is awesome. That just isn't a realistic jump. So they're still in a very good spot. So when we talk about lineup changes, or when again, I don't want to say because maybe not everybody agrees with me, but when I sit here and go, man, maybe they're better with Keon in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Mike Brown, you're looking and going, well, I can get Keon on the floor for 20 plus minutes a night still.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to mess with something that's 10 games over through 64 games. This is going okay.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I would also, like, there's expectations on this team that have never, ever been there before. And there are players on this team that are playing with expectations that have never had expectations like this before.
No doubt.
When you walk into a season and no one expects you, most people have you as a 13 seed in the Western Conference, and you jump up and are the 3 seed, expectations change. Now, they don't change within the season, in that original season, because everyone is always waiting for the shoe to drop. They're always like, oh, well, this isn't real.
Right.
Oh, they're not going to be able to keep this up.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're trying to sit there and prove people wrong that you can keep up and that you can keep on the right track and all that stuff. And then everyone says, oh, just wait till after the All-Star break when the real basketball starts. And look, the Kings didn't fade again. Yep. And we're like, okay, like, oh, now you got something, right? Yep. Well, you go into the offseason and now everyone just expects you to build off of that. And it feels like you should have been able to build off of that because you brought the same group back. But there is a whole different level of intensity that you're facing now.
Mhm.
You're going up against a Milwaukee Bucks team on a Tuesday night that Giannis is actually playing. You know how many times Giannis has not played against the Kings?
A lot.
It's more than one. Where
And-
he's just like, yeah, the Bucks say, we don't need to play him tonight.
And the Kings had still lost, 15 in a row to them?
Yeah. You
Oof.
know how many times that LeBron James just didn't
Yeah.
play in a game against the Kings, or Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, or name that star on some team?
They were the night off on the calendar.
Yeah, that's not who you are now.
Yeah.
And so you have to deal with that. You have to deal with expectations changing. You have to deal with fans freaking out at a grocery store when you walk through and asking you why you guys keep losing.
Mhm.
There are so many nuances to this. And look, do they need to rise to the occasion? Yes, they do.
Mhm.
But the fact that they're still 10 games over and they're still positioned,
Mhm.
they're actually playing reasonably well. It's just every couple of games they get clubbed. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well,
Yeah.
you know what just happened to the Milwaukee Bucks? They just got flat out destroyed.
This was the second time on this West Coast swing that they've lost a game by 30 plus. By 35 exactly, actually.
They're the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
They got clubbed with all of their players last night, except for Middleton, which you can't count on Middleton being there either way. So I think that there needs to be a readjustment a little bit. And I think last year I kept saying it down the stretch, just please, fans, enjoy the run. Enjoy what's happening.
The rise is the best part.
Yes, it is. This is the best part of all
Yeah.
of this. It's never going to feel this way again. It's never going to be new and everything
Mhm.
else. And this is what we meant. It's living and dying with wins and losses,
Mhm.
like it's your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And I feel for fans because I get it. I know you want your team to be great, but at the same time, I feel for a guy like Mike Brown. I feel for a guy like Kevin Huerter, who doesn't want to miss shots. Whatever it is that's going
Yeah.
on with some of these guys, it's not like it's something they're choosing.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's something that's happening, and maybe it's mental, maybe it's physical, whatever it is, but it's something that is being examined and torn apart and talked about every single day by us on the radio, by everyone else on the radio, by people in print.
Mhm.
That's the world you live in, but it doesn't mean that it feels good, and it doesn't mean that it makes it easier for you to find success.
Yeah.
And so, look, I think we're back to the point. Look, 18 games, show up, cheer on your team. If they have a horrible run and you feel like booing, I'm not going to tell you not to boo, but
Mhm.
also keep in mind that it's not like they want to lose games. They're out there trying to win games,
Sure.
and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah. And sometimes fans are going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there's any concern about, just on that last point, if there's any concern about support for the team, go watch last night. Last night was
Go
electric.
buy a ticket if you can afford one, if you can find one that you can buy.
Yeah.
Packed house. Crazy.
Go hang out at G1. All right, let's take a look around the scoreboard real quick, because the Kings did get a little bit of help last night. The Minnesota Timberwolves, with 5:13 to go in the second quarter, trailed the Los Angeles Clippers by 22 points. 22 points they were down. The Minnesota Timberwolves went on to win that game 118-100. That is a 40-point swing in less than half an hour of basketball.
Okay.
Very impressive win for Minnesota. They stay a half game back of the number 1 seed. But the bigger deal is the Kings just 4 games back of the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard left the game last night because it was uncomfortable to sit. He had back spasms that were so bad, he couldn't even sit out the game because his back spasms were so bad. James Harden is now dealing with something that he said he indicated it's going to kind of be how he feels on a day-to-day basis on whether he plays or not. Are you looking at the Clippers and going, they're in arm's reach, or are they
I'm always looking at the Clippers and thinking they're either the best team or the biggest fraud in the league. All the time. Every year. Really.
Yeah.
You're waiting for them to go from being an iPod to being a Zoom, like the whole time. You're
What
like,
a pull.
you're like, is that what's going to happen? Are they going to become a Zoom like right in front of us? And the fact is, like, that's kind of who they are. That you're waiting for the injuries. You know, I'll say this too. Last night, Gary Gerald, absolute legend in Sacramento,
An icon.
an icon, and one of the great men that you're ever going to meet.
An all-time nice guy.
All-time nice guy. Struggled with back spasms last night. You know who didn't go home? Gary Gerald. He sat there and called a game with back spasms. At least, like, I'm a guy who has a bad back. I show up at every game, and I get you're Kawhi Leonard, but like leaving a game and going home,
That's crazy.
what?
I don't know, man.
Like, get a heat pad. Like, he's got the best drugs known to man. Like, you don't think that they got something good going on with him right then? He like, I might get lucky and get a Toradol shot to get some of the inflammation up.
Sure.
He's got a lot more than that flowing,
Yeah.
and like, come on. Yeah, good luck with that team. Good luck. Like, I hope people don't ever bet on the Clippers to win the championship.
I want no parts of that. Maybe they figure it out. I want no parts of it.
Hey, I
if you
think
told me the Kings tracked down the Clippers, I wouldn't be shocked.
I would not be shocked at all. Yeah, if the Kings win the Pacific Division, down 4 right now, I would not be shocked.
I would be a little surprised, actually, but only because it meant the Kings started stringing wins together at a rate that they have not this year. It meant they started regularly handling business against worse teams.
Hey, I'm not saying that he should have played. I'm saying, like,
you can't hang out at
and support your team
crypto?
and whatever it's called.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
So
good luck with that.
The Clippers very much in view for Sacramento. The Pacers all over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 121-111. Hey, which one of those teams is more likely to win a first-round playoff series?
Which one?
Yeah.
Out of who?
The Clippers and the Pacers. The Pacers right now would face the Cavs.
Still taking the Clippers.
The Thunder would face if the play-in goes as just chalk, it would be the Mavericks. It'd be Thunder v Mavericks or Pacers v Cavs.
I'm still taking the Clippers.
Also, the Sixers very quietly suddenly a play-in team.
That might be because the MVP left the building.
No, I understand that, but I thought they would be able to stay afloat a little bit.
It's a tough look.
Really, really bad. They got thumped by the Knicks last night, 106-79. Looks like OG Anunoby is going to be back for Saturday's game against the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes! All right, that's it for our look around the scoreboard. Let's get some keys. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Let's get some Kings keys to victory tonight against a Los Angeles Lakers team that they have dominated. How do they continue that domination? We'll tell you next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. We are clear. And I'm going to run to the restroom real quick.
Run. Hey, look, I don't need Kawhi Leonard to play. I don't need Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he can get treatment there in the building. Like, but
yeah, it's kind of odd to have a player exit
the building. It's very odd to have a player just leave and go home. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of players that don't. Well, there are not a lot of players that don't stick around, but like there are a lot of players that go into halftime and like come back out and like aren't in uniform anymore. You're like, what in the world? Yeah. You think Kawhi Leonard will need back surgery? That's interesting. Yeah, Dr. David, I did see this. He also did that weird interview. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, but man, I wish I could like get behind the A's right now and Zach Geloff just like crushing it during spring training, and just like, holy cow, you might have found a star like out of nowhere, and they could even be fun, this season, but they're not going to be. They just don't have anything. Yeah, baby. Harrison Barnes loves the spin bike. Like it is, they have a bike sitting there, or whatever it is. They have a bike in the tunnel for him, and he sits there anytime he comes off the floor. Kyle's back.
Oh, the minute to spare. Come on, coach.
Hmm.
Ugh.
Mhm.
Ew.
That's the pug.
Ah, is that a harness?
Yeah, he has a harness on.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a very strange coloring.
No,
I see.
he's just lazy.
Oh, we have 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Kyle Madsen here. James Ham there. Sacramento Kings, Los Angeles Lakers, Golden One Center tonight coming up at 7 o'clock. So the Lakers are favored tonight?
Really?
That feels like bait.
Feels disrespectful.
It feels like bait to me.
Hmm.
I know the books have to go with, because if they make the Kings favorites, you'd get a bunch of public money on the Lakers and they could potentially lose their rear ends. Let me check the specific number, because whatever it is, I think I'm taking the Kings plus points tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. That just solely based on not any vibe I feel with the Kings. Yeah, the Lakers are minus 2.5. Give me the Kings plus the 2.5, because I think the vibes are not the vibes, but that feels like bait. That feels like books want me to take the Lakers.
Okay.
Or does it feel like books want me to take the Kings? Oh boy.
I don't know. I'm feeling like you should never bet on the Sacramento Kings one way or another.
No. You're right. Like there's the only reliable thing about the Kings is when they play a team like Milwaukee, they're going to show up. Last night I was super confident. That was part of the reason I decided I was going to stick around the whole game. Like I feel like they're going to win tonight.
Yeah, but that's the vibe though. We have to, like, we always have to go counter, right?
Yeah, but with the Lakers specifically, I don't know. Should the Kings win? Yeah, but does that mean the Lakers are a team that they're going to go lay down against? Like they certainly didn't last time.
Well, I can't wait to hear like a bunch of times how difficult it is to beat the same team 4 times in a row in the same season.
You think it's going to be a talking point tonight? Bless you.
Sorry,
I should have turned off. No, I should have turned off your mic. That's bad awareness by me.
I tried to.
No, I'll take the fouls on me there.
All right.
It's on. Yeah, it's my first personal. I got fouls to give.
All right.
What's the injury report look like for tonight?
Oh man, we got all kinds of good stuff on the injury report. The Los Angeles Lakers are a hot mess. We of course have Mr. LeBron James is questionable, which is something that we've kind of grown to become accustomed to. It's something that's happening all the time. But they also have Christian Wood out, Cam Reddish out, Jared Vanderbilt out, Gabe Benson out. Probable is Anthony Davis. For the Kings, Keegan Murray is questionable again. I believe. Trey Lyles is probably going to be questionable and maybe even doubtful with a knee issue that happened last night. And then we have Sasha Vezenkov out.
Didn't love the look on that Trey Lyles knee thing. I'm not a doctor by any means, but the way he nothing seemed to really happen. He jumped up for a rebound and then came down and started grabbing at his knee and tried to work it out, jogging up and down the court a couple times.
Yeah.
Came out of the game at the next stoppage and was then ruled out.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Well,
And
odd.
it was pretty quick how they ruled him out.
Yeah.
And I would just go back, rewind back to the Kings Lakers game last week. Trey Lyles was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Did a
played
really nice job.
really solid defense on both Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Mhm.
You know, he did his best to get big and stay in front of those guys and keep them away from the basket. And not having him, like, you can already see that that this team is a little like light at that position, and now it's even more so. So you're gonna have to count on big minutes from maybe a guy like Alex Len. Maybe you go small for a lot more stretches, like what the Kings have done the last couple of games. It should be intriguing how the Kings handle this, especially if Keegan can't go, because then that leaves 2 of your, or even 3 of your standard 4 forwards out of commission.
Yeah, man.
It's like Harrison Barnes and who else?
A lot of Kessler.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of Kevin Huerter at the
Mhm.
3. You know, he's 6'7". He might be better defensively at the 3 than he is at the
Yeah.
2. Although I don't like him against like a guy like Rui Hachimura or a guy like LeBron James. Like,
there's not, to be fair to Kevin Huerter, there's not a lot of people I do like against LeBron James.
No, I totally get that, but I'd also say like Rui is super aggressive.
Yeah, very
and
physical.
He's very physical, and he had a really good game last time the Kings played them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
29 points.
Yeah, he had 28, something like that. Whatever it was. Yeah, that's not a matchup that I think the Kings are gonna love. And so hopefully either Keegan or Trey Lyles is back tonight.
All right, let's get some keys to a Sacramento Kings victory. James Ham, what is your first?
Build on the momentum.
Mm.
Man, I'm so tired of the momentum killers.
Yeah.
You know, like, find a way to build some momentum. You get a win tonight against a team that you've really done well against over the last 2 years. You go into Saturday with a little more confidence against a Knicks team that's getting a little bit healthy with OG Anunoby coming back. Like, you need to build some momentum with 18 games remaining in the season if you hope to make a run.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. You beat the Lakers. You have a real good chance against the Knicks. The Knicks are tough. Don't get it twisted. You have a real good chance Saturday, and then you alluded to this earlier. Then it's Memphis, at Toronto, at the Wizards, at Orlando, home against Philly, who's now the number 7 seed in the East and sliding. You get a couple against the Mavericks. Those are big games. And Utah. There's a ton of winnable games here coming up, where if you are going to close that gap and you are going to win the Pacific Division, you got an opportunity, but it has to start tonight. That momentum has to start building now. I think that's a great point by you. First one for me.
Yep.
I don't know. Don't get down by 20. Did that against the Lakers last time. I don't think that you can dig yourself out of a 20-point hole, or 19 points, I guess it was. Don't think you do it. I don't think you can do it twice. Start with your foot on the gas.
Okay.
Pretty easy key.
I would say you're probably right there, but the Lakers are a team that they have a lot of offensive weapons and not a lot of guys who play defense. And their 2 guys that are best at defense are LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And, you know, again, they're aging and they're not the same defensive players, but they surround them with like poor defenders: D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves. Like, if Austin Reeves is matched up on De'Aaron Fox,
Night,
that's
dude.
straight up barbecue chicken.
Night, dude.
Yeah.
On both ends of the floor, it turns out.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Seize a moment.
Seize it.
This is another playoff game, and a great crowd is expected, and like, sweeping the Lakers would feel really good for this Kings team.
Dude.
That'd be
Can
big.
you imagine the light the beam chant if the Kings cap off a season sweep of the Lakers? Would be one of the loudest non-postseason light the beam chants.
Oh yeah,
it would be incredible.
Well, this would be a big one.
Yeah, this is a huge spot. I'm right there with you. Playoff atmosphere for sure, and then you tack on the non-intangible things like the standings, and this game has a ton of meaning. You can't shrink. Number 2, let the guards cook. You just alluded to this, man. They cannot guard De'Aaron Fox. They cannot keep him out of the paint. They cannot keep Malik Monk out of the paint. And when those 2 are getting in the paint, whether they are passing or whether they are scoring, they're both really good shot makers at the rim, really good shot makers in the mid-range. When those 2 guys are getting into the paint, I don't know what you do to stop Sacramento's offense. They have to let those guys cook tonight, and I would like to see plenty of that because the Lakers don't have any answers.
Are you asking for spray threes?
I would like to see at least 20 sprays tonight.
At least 20 sprays.
20 sprays. That's the goal.
20 sprays, most of them to hot guys.
Dude, if you can spray some hot guys,
I don't know what you.
their words, not ours.
Their words.
I know people want to
not
throw
ours.
flags and do that whole bit. I don't know if Jesse can even hear us right now, but that's their language. Oh, he's throwing a flag. Boo. Boo.
He may bust in the door here. He may bust in the door just to like throw a flag.
Sprays to some spray.
We've lost our way.
Number 3.
Fox, Sabonis, Monk, star again.
Yeah.
We don't care if you started yesterday. We don't care if you started last week.
No.
You star again
Tonight. Yeah, dude, we can talk about Keegan. We can talk about Keon Ellis, Kevin Huerter. We can do all that. The Kings this year, this season in 2023, 2024, are going to go as far as that trio takes them.
That's right.
That's the long and short of it.
I agree.
Number 3 for me. I want to see more Keon Ellis. Maybe not starting. Like, I mean, he might start if Keegan Murray's out. But if everybody's healthy, maybe not starting, but I would like to see more Keon Ellis minutes. I think the Kings are just a different team with him on the court, not only with what he brings tangibly, but what he brings intangibly. I think people tend to follow his energy. I think he's a connector on both ends of the court. I would like to see more Keon Ellis minutes tonight.
I would love that as well. I'd love to see him with D'Angelo Russell, because if you can stop D'Angelo Russell from getting crazy
He's
hot,
a big time catalyst for them.
you got a shot.
And he's been very, very good lately. Apparently, somebody was mean to him on the internet, and that sparked his recent run of strong play. So maybe Kings fans just be super nice to D'Angelo Russell before the game.
Yeah, be nice to him
While
on
he's
the
shooting around,
internet.
be like, "Wow, D'Lo, amazing shot. You're quite a player. Heck
All
of a
day
pla-
long.
You're the best player on the Lakers."
Just feed
Many
that.
are saying.
Feed that ego.
Be super nice. That's key number 4. Fans, be nice to D'Lo. D'Angelo Russell, Damian Barling too, of course. But we mean D'Angelo Russell in this sense. I want to remind everybody, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are here every single day on ESPN 1320 from 10 a.m. to noon. If you can't catch the show or you can't catch parts of the show, the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show, you can download that and subscribe for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Our show is called The Insiders, but we can't call it that for reasons that go well over my head and well outside my pay grade. So look for the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show wherever you get your podcasts, and don't miss a second of our program. We appreciate you all very much. ESPN 1320 is going hoops crazy. You could even say we are going mad. We have a ton of basketball coming up for you with March Madness coming up, NBA playoffs coming up. It's all going to be right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear. Got a little late there, my bad. What?
Just spray the hot guys
Oh, dude.
all day long. We making fun of Brendan for that. Like Mike likes to call them hot guys. Like, nope, now you just called them hot guys. It's too late.
You got to get in the hip of the hot guys.
That's right. Oh, I forgot tonight it's an ESPN game. Let's see, who do we have?
Mark Jones. Give me Mark Jones.
Ryan Rucco,
Ryan Rucco's good. Double R.
Doris Burke,
And
and Jorge Sedano.
Sedano? Hell yeah. You can get him on tomorrow if you want.
Oh yeah. Mark is calling the Denver-Miami game before.
Ooh, okay. That makes sense.
Oh wow, with JJ Redick and Cassidy Hubbard. Hubbard.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. It's cold in here. I swear the AC kicked on. It's just me. That's why I sneezed.
I'm a very sweaty person, though.
Oh,
So I'm a hot guy always.
you're always a hot guy. Hot guy looking for the spray 3 over there.
Someone's gonna spray me.
That's
nuts, dude. That's so crazy. I cannot believe they continue rolling Bob Myers out as a color analyst. Maybe they did it the night the Warriors honored him just as like a little nod, but dude, you cannot keep doing that. And this is why, like, Drew, I totally agree. Bob Myers is from every interaction I've ever had with him, every person I know who has had interactions with him, very kind, very smart, engaging person, really understands the media stuff, even when he is a GM.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'd get asked a question on 95.7, and he's like, you know, I know you got to ask your question, so fire away. Just really good dude. He is not a good color analyst.
No
chance.
I mean, maybe he just needs a lot of work. I think he can be good on TV.
No doubt. He's very new.
Yeah,
it's expected. It's tough right now. I have not stayed at either of those spots, David. Sorry.
What spots?
In Disney World, Boardwalk or Wilderness Lodge.
Oh no.
Apparently Wilderness Lodge is cool as hell. I've not stayed there.
I've
folks
had food
stay
there.
At Wilderness Lodge?
Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we had friends that were staying there, and so we went to dinner there. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've stayed. Well, my parents and I have tagged along. I've stayed at Old Key West and Saratoga Springs when I've gone to Disney World. Oh, there's Damian Barling.
Yeah.
We have 20 seconds. All right, here we go, guys.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Final segment coming up. Then we will hand it off to D'Lo and KC. I'm excited for their show intro today. D'Lo and KC show intros after W's are some of my favorite things.
They're a little wild.
They're great.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I hope he gets back to Drake bars. That should have been a Drake bar game.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some impromptu Drake bars. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they put that bit to bed. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I have no idea. But that should be a super fun show today. So make sure to stay tapped into ESPN 1320, whether you are listening on the free Odyssey app, whether you're listening on the radio, or whether you're checking us out on youtube.com/ESPN1320 or twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Or maybe you're one of the hundreds of people watching on YouTube. Salute. Shout out to you. And thank you for tapping in. I have two things I want to get to. Do you want to do the good version of Good, Bad, and Ugly? Or do you want to do the last time the Kings beat Milwaukee?
Let's go last time the Kings beat Milwaukee.
Okay, so the last time the Kings beat Milwaukee, you went and did the deep dive research on this. If you were unfamiliar with the Kings' losing streak to the Milwaukee Bucks, they had lost 15 consecutive games to Milwaukee entering last night. That is astounding.
Yes.
It's not. The Bucks have been really good for the last few years. The Kings, until recently, have not been very good. But 15 wins in a row against one team is very, very hard to do. The last time the Kings beat the Bucks, February 1st of the 2016 season. That is insane. That is so long ago.
It is really, really a long time.
I did not even live in this state in 2016.
You know, the crazy thing, too, is that the Kings had lost 4 in a row coming into that game, and then they lost the next 4 after that game, but they beat the Bucks. And this was a bad season, but not like the worst season.
Yeah. 2015-16, they went 33-49. And those 33 wins were their most since 2008. Oh,
Here's a crazy thing. Watch this.
Oh
Who
my-
coached that team? Do you see who coached that team?
George Karl,
George Karl.
the legend.
So since that point, like we've had Dave Yeager.
Yep.
We
He was in the building last night.
He was in the building.
Yep.
Got a big hug from Dave.
Good to see Dave.
Uh,
He looks great, by the way.
yeah, he does look good. His health problems are behind him. It looks like his
Excellent.
wife was also in the building. So shout out to the Jaegers. So we had Dave, we
Mhm.
had Luke, we had Alvin, and now Mike.
Yep.
4 head coaches ago.
4 head coaches. The Kings leader in win shares, according to Basketball Reference that season, was DeMarcus Cousins. Here are their leaders in win shares since the last time they beat the Milwaukee Bucks. DeMarcus Cousins, Willie Cauley-Stein, back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
Nemanja Bjelica,
Oh yeah,
why not?
Nemanja.
Nemanja, thank you.
No, either way.
Boy, then I just, okay.
You ask him, is it Nemanja or is it Nemanja?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
And so it's Nemanja? Yes. It's not Nemanja. No, it's Nemanja.
Okay.
Is it Nemanja? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
like who's
I
on
wasn't
first.
wrong?
No, it's literally like a who's on first. When you
Okay.
talk to Nemanja or Nemanja,
Okay.
it's the same thing.
Belly.
Belly.
In the
Thank you.
2019-20 season. Rashawn Holmes in the 2020-2021 season. Harrison Barnes in 21-22. And then, of course, the last 2 years it's been Domas. That is a crazy... so much time. That group of players that I just mentioned encompasses such a wide swath of recent Kings history. And in that entire stretch, not one time did they knock off the Milwaukee Bucks.
Never. The starting lineup, so
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins missed the game, right? So the starting lineup for the
no.
Kings, Rajon Rondo,
Sure.
Marco Bellinelli at the 2, because he
Italian Kobe.
He was very upset that he had to come off the bench and he only wanted to be passed to by Rondo. That was a problem. Rudy Gay at the 3 put up 32 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Kosta Koufis at the 5 and Willie Cauley-Stein at the 4. They went Twin Towers.
Went big.
They combined for 11 points and 21 rebounds, those 2. Off the bench, Omri Caspi. Darren Collison, who was in the building last night. Did you see Darren?
I didn't see him, but I
he
heard
came
he
into the
was
media
there.
room, and again, like, it was good to see Darren. Haven't seen him in a long time.
Mm.
Quincy Acey, James Anderson, with Caron Butler, Seth Curry, and Ben McLemore either not playing or not dressing, along with DeMarcus Cousins.
Rondo that season tied his career high, not career high, excuse me. How many games was he in Sacramento? 72, just that one season.
Mm-hmm.
He hit his season high, tied his season high, and made threes in that game. He went 4 for 4 from beyond the arc.
Whoa. That was a season where he had a bunch of triple doubles. Like,
that tracks.
he knew how to get to a triple double.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 triple doubles that year. 6. Sorry, 6.
So I think the crazy thing too is if you look at the Bucks lineup, Michael Carter Williams at the point.
Oh my God. This is, again, if you're just tapping in, this is the last time the Kings beat the Bucks prior to thumping them 129-94 last night.
That's right. They had Chris Middleton at the 2.
Yeah, it's sure.
They had the tandem, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jabari Parker.
Kings legend.
Kings legend with Greg Monroe at the center position.
Oh my God.
Jared Baelish, Rashad Vaughn, Miles Plumlee, Johnny O'Bryant came off the bench.
Chris Copeland, Knicks legend.
Yeah. Tyler Ennis.
Suns legend.
Yes. John Henson.
Kings legend.
No, John
Oh.
Henson never played for the Kings. Did play for the Cavs, I want to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
had a cup of coffee with the Cavs
And
in Detroit.
OJ Mayo.
Oh,
OJ
man.
Mayo. You know what happens when you get injured in Milwaukee?
What's that?
According to Rudy Gay, you get fat.
Oh yeah, no,
Which
no,
was-
now I know what it is.
That I don't think it was this game that. Oh no, that was the sleep train. That might have been the night that Rudy Gay said that. It may have been the night that Rudy Gay said that.
Man, That is such a long, and the Bucks weren't good that year, by the way. The Bucks that loss dropped them to 20-30. They're 10 games under.
Mm.
The win got the Kings to 6 games over, or 6 games under. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Mm.
Johnny O'Brien. That's a
That is just such a man.
Wow.
The Kings were down at the half too in that one.
Man, what a great nickname Johnny O'Brien has.
What is it?
J-O-B. He's on the job.
He's on the job.
Johnny O'Brien. Great nickname. All right.
That is the last time the Kings beat the Milwaukee Bucks. We have not mentioned yet. Well, you mentioned it in 6 Quick Thoughts very briefly.
Yeah.
But Domantas Sabonis sets the Sacramento Kings franchise record. 47 consecutive double-doubles. And then Malik Monk set a Kings record for most assists by a Kings reserve.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like him and De'Aaron just trashing Bobby Jackson.
Yeah. Super funny.
Yeah. Like, because Bobby was here, so they know Bobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like Bobby was here. He coached the Stockton Kings all last season, but he was an assistant for most of De'Aaron Fox's career here.
Worked a lot with De'Aaron, I believe.
Yeah.
So no, that was a cool thing for them. And I mean, not a huge surprise. And I think more a testament to here's my thing with these records. Is it notable nationally that Domantas Sabonis broke the Kings franchise record for consecutive double-doubles? No. I don't know. Who cares? I don't know that anyone nationally cares that Malik Monk set a Kings record for assists by a reserve.
Mm-hmm.
But what this does for me is it illustrates in a tangible way the impact Domantas Sabonis has on this team and the impact Malik Monk has had on this team. Malik Monk is not just a microwave scorer who comes in and hey, some nights he might give you 30, but some nights you're going to get 8 and it's just kind of a crapshoot. No, he is a second point guard. He is not a traditional sixth man in that sense of, he's going to go score. He's going to go be Lou Williams. He's going to be Jordan Clarkson. Like, no, man, he's going to go be the second point. He is going to distribute. He's going to be a playmaker. And it comes with quite a bit of scoring. Like we saw, he had 25 and 5 last night. 25, 5 and 5 last night.
Yeah.
He's been really good at putting the ball in the basket, but that assist record also shows you in less than 2 full seasons, by the way. That assist record just shows what he's been able to accomplish as a playmaker as well.
How many games do you think Bobby Jackson played for the Sacramento Kings?
Oh, geez. I was so young. 150.
365.
Oh, my God.
Guess how many Malik Monk has played?
Less than 2 seasons, so like 149.
140.
Man.
He broke that record that quick.
Jeez.
What in the world?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Domas. I'm just going out on a limb here. I don't think Domas is going to stop at 47. Just my take. Don't come after me. I'm not trying to fire up the hot take cannon.
Uh-oh.
I think he's going to have more than 47 straight double-doubles.
I'm ready to say that. I'm not sure what the all-time NBA record is.
I think Kevin Love has it, right? 58, 59, 55 by Kevin Love?
Shout
out
55.
Barlow.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking
55.
it was 55 by Kevin Love.
Good, bad, and ugly. So what we typically do is we very quickly, before we get Kenny Caraway in here for the handoff, D'Lo and KC coming up here in about 15 minutes. What we typically do is we pick something good, something bad, something ugly, and we just kind of rip through it and touch on maybe some things we didn't get to touch on from the game.
I just got a text. The all-time record consecutive is Wilt at 227. Kevin Love, I think, is second.
Consecutive?
Yeah, since the merger, Love holds the record.
Oh, since the merger. Okay.
All time is 227.
Yeah. Wilt doesn't count, bro. Everybody's chasing Wilt in all things. In all things. Everybody's chasing Wilt. What was good last night for you?
Good. Keon Ellis was masterful against Dame. Like, Damian Lillard is one of the toughest players in the league to guard because he can shoot from anywhere. And Mike Brown said it in pregame. If you just like kind of blow on him, you get a foul call. Nothing. Like,
do you think Mike's going to get a fine for the preemptive ref call out? Can the league do that?
I think they can, and they might.
because Mike talked about defending, and he's like, you have to watch out because if you touch him, if you even breathe on him, you're gonna get a foul. Like, dang.
Well, look at the
Damn,
fouls.
Mike.
Look at the disparity in free throw attempts
know,
between
dude.
the two teams.
I was-
It wasn't even close.
I was watching right there with you. The good thing for me was Giannis. He didn't disappoint.
He
I really
didn't.
enjoyed watching Giannis play last night. That was a fun experience.
Yeah, he's
It's a little different.
literally the Greek freak.
What was better?
Yeah, we're not doing good, bad, and ugly today.
Yeah, it's good, better, best.
It's good, better, best.
Yeah.
The defense holds the Bucks to 36.6% from the field, 17.9% from three. What is
was
that?
crazy. The Bucks pulled a Kings. I
Oh.
saved the message here from Will Z. WillZstats.com
Okay.
does a great job tracking the Kings via numbers and has some really, really good ones. The Bucks, he gave us this one. Bucks 3 of 18 on wide open threes last night. 3 of 18.
Oh,
That's not great, but the Kings defensively did such a nice job. Mike Brown mentioned this postgame, 21 deflections. They wound up with 11 steals. They forced 13 Bucks turnovers. The Kings defense last night for me was awesome. What was the best?
well, first I need Will to tell me how many of those wide open threes were to hot guys.
Yeah.
That's the question.
I don't know, James. I don't want to hear that.
That's the question.
Like, that's
You
what
want
it
to hear
is.
about sprays to hot guys?
I think the Kings play good defense.
Uh-huh.
I think they've been playing better defense, being active.
Uh-huh.
But I was watching before. Will Z read my mind. I'm watching the game. Wide open corner threes,
Dude, I
all night long.
mentioned it during the
And it
game.
don't matter who's hot or not. These are NBA players. These are guys. I
Yeah.
mean, Connington can hit threes. Beasley can hit threes.
Beasley's a
They
good
were-
shooter.
They were right. They were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that had a whole lot to do with the Kings defense. That's not even me saying they play bad defense, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Like, I think a lot of time people see that and be like, the Kings held them to this and that from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
No, they didn't. And on the flip side, the Kings can play really good defense and have a hand in Devin Vassell's face,
Sure.
and he splashes
Mm-hmm.
a three,
Yeah.
with Keegan Murray draped all over him. Like, but that's not bad defense, right? Like, but people
Sure.
look at that and be like, oh, the Spurs hit
It's
13
process versus
threes.
result.
They played bad defense. No,
Yeah.
they didn't play bad defense.
No, it's process versus result. And we're going to pull the plug on the rest of this bit. It's a handoff with Kenny Caraway.
Yeah.
That was the thing. One of the things I said to James last night, I was like, man, they're getting a lot of open looks. And they just never knocked him down. And sometimes that happens. The thing for me that I thought there were some things that Kings did really well defensively last night, for sure. It wasn't a perfect defensive game because you mentioned 18 wide open looks. And if they hit 7 of those, the game looks a lot different, right?
Mhm.
But 21 deflections. I thought
great.
Keon was
That was
awesome on Dame Lillard and limiting him.
Right.
Dame didn't just miss shots. They made it really, really tough for him.
Yeah.
The other thing I think you have to credit the Kings with is not letting Milwaukee hang around while they were missing their threes.
Mhm.
They went out and Milwaukee was missing, and the Kings were going down and making their shots, 3 layup or otherwise.
Mhm.
So that to me, De'Aaron talked about it after the game. Sometimes you got to get lucky.
Mhm.
And sometimes you're going to shoot 6 for 32, and sometimes the opponent's going to shoot 7 for 39.
Yeah.
But I think overall last night, I think it was a better defensive effort.
I think it was a good. I say all that saying I think, like what you brought up, James brought up, Coach Brown brought up, the deflections, the activity on the defensive end, I thought was great. The thing about it is, I think the Kings have been playing that type of defense as of late. You know what I mean? And I don't think they necessarily get the credit because of defensive rating and points per game and all this other stuff. But I really, since the All-Star break, since there was an emphasis on, defending the 3 and stuff like that, I've seen them more active at trying to defend the 3, trying to keep guys in front of them. And the numbers may not necessarily give them the credit they deserve for that, but I see more activity. And we saw that firsthand yesterday with the deflections and playing in the passing lanes and things of that nature. And that's what I've been seeing from them as of late.
The difference to me last night was it was all game. They never let their foot off the gas on that end. We've seen stretches of really good defense, and then they just stop playing it. They start giving up a ton of pain points. They start giving up open threes. They start giving up sprays to hot guys. And
I got to be honest. Like watching the game last night, I remember Brook Lopez hitting 1 3 that was like, okay, that's not good.
don't even remember that.
I don't remember him hitting being open
Yeah.
for a bunch of threes. He goes 1 of 4. I remember Damian Lillard being like draped on, like he couldn't get away from anyone. He goes 1 of 6. Giannis, you go ahead and shoot a 3. He goes 0 for 2. That's
Yep.
fine. Pat Bev, go ahead and
shoot.
shoot a 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He goes 0 for 3.
Mhm.
So that's 0 for 5 between those two. And then if you look at the guys that I thought were hotly contested, Brooke Lopez and Dame Lillard, they go 2 for 10. So like if we add those up, 2 for 15 right there, that's where your big swing comes. Like, did Beasley
Mhm.
get a couple open looks? Sure. Did Connaughton get a couple open looks? Yeah. Did who's the other AJ Green? He goes 1 of 6 from the
Not
field.
the
1
AJ
of 4.
Green I was thinking of.
No, me
No.
neither.
No.
I was like, AJ Green. Oh.
What did you think of
Okay.
that Andre Jackson dunk?
That was an all timer.
That was wild,
That was
wasn't
an
it?
all timer, man.
I've never
That
seen
was-
somebody
that was
jump that
insane.
high.
That was insane. I was trying to figure, like, did he catapult over Slauson or anything? Not really. Like, Slauson just kind of was in his way, but he got up that high on his own. It looked like that was crazy.
That was wild.
His chest was out.
That was crazy.
And it was a putback.
Yeah.
Like, how do you time that?
You know what's
Yeah, that was wild.
you know what's wild about NBA players? And I've said this to you before, James, in pregame. You watch Harrison Barnes in pregame. Does not miss.
Mm.
Doesn't matter if he's fading left, fading right, turnaround, he is cashing everything. It's like, man, you don't get a real good respect for how good NBA players are until you watch them on air.
Yeah.
Versus watching just some yokels down at the Y on air.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see a guy, what's his name? Austin Jackson?
Andre Jackson Jr.
Austin Jackson, a center fielder for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Yes. Andre Jackson, you watch him get up like that and you're going, that guy doesn't play all the time. How is that not the best player in the league?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That type of athleticism is like, yeah, he's going to play 6 minutes in a blowout.
And
Watching-
make the most
dude.
memorable
Athletes
6
are
minutes.
superheroes.
Watching Harrison Barnes, warm up before the games and not miss
Mhm.
anything. It's almost like me.
Oh, no.
Ain't no oh no.
Hey, Jesse, get
Ain't
your
no
guy.
oh no. Which y'all want to see? Y'all don't believe me?
Oh no, I see the
Please,
Instagram
please.
videos. I see the Instagram videos
That's hilarious.
in your backyard. Get
Doug
shots up.
Doug is
Don't
always
miss.
defending Harrison, like in pregame, and
Yeah.
he does a bunch of like swipe over the top, like
Oh yeah.
he messes with him the
Nah,
whole
man,
time.
I'm having a little fun with them. Those guys
Yeah.
are crazy.
It is-
Yeah.
Those guys are insane.
Wild.
I mean, Brooke Lopez did not miss anything.
I have a question, real quick. Honestly, like
Mm.
not doing a bit.
Mm.
Honestly, if you were to be given King's warm up gear, like actual, like authentic gear, and you went out and you started warming up, how long do you think it would take people to realize, if people were like watching and paying attention, to realize that you aren't a professional basketball player?
A little while. I ain't gonna lie. A little while. Now, look, when I say that, it's warm up. There's nobody guarding me. Stuff like I'm not
You've got
saying
a
I could
coach,
play in
maybe,
the NBA
maybe
today.
doing
Yeah.
the passive.
I'm not saying I could play for the Kings today.
Yeah,
I'm just
no
saying, like, catch and shoot, doing all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Like, yeah, I'll make
People are like, oh, it might be a little
5%
two-way guy.
of the shots, catch and shoot. Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to do that as a bit. I would love to dress
Make it
Kenny up.
happen.
Well, no,
And-
because he'd get arrested.
No. Like get
No,
people
they're in
on
on
it.
it. They're in on it. Yeah,
But
yeah.
not while not while De'Aaron and them are out there, but like when the two-way guys come out pregame
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
and they're warming up. I don't think in that situation anybody, because genuinely, like I know that you played and you're good, especially for somebody who's what 43, 44 now.
I'm 40.
That's
I'm
age,
not
yeah.
that old yet. I'm
I
looking a
didn't-
little older, but
I
not
didn't
that
know if
old
I was trying to
yet.
do a joke. That's my bad. No, but especially like I don't think in that setting
Yeah.
where it's the two-way guys.
Well, what would happen is when you got to start doing stuff like attacking the basket and jump and stuff like that, they're like, that guy doesn't jump high at all.
They'd be on to you.
That's when the questions will start.
15 feet and out though. They got no idea.
That guy barely gets off the ground.
That's right.
What's going on here?
What do you guys got coming up today on D'Lo and Casey?
Kings. And it's a big game. It's a big game.
Tonight's
I
huge,
said
dude.
I said this week is a big week. This week, in my opinion, will go a long way into determining what the final outcome for the Kings season will be. I really believe that.
Drake Bar's game?
They've been asking for it. I don't know. We'll see.
People are clamoring for it.
We'll see.
They're in the chatty house today.
They're
Yeah, man.
clamoring. They're
And
clamoring.
we'll see. We'll see what it is, man.
All right. We'll find out on D-Lo and KC next on ESPN.